We are recording. Welcome to the Tuesday 11 o'clock class. We are working out of book number 200, and the song today is They Can't Take That Away From Me. Well, what do we know about that particular song? Well, it was a 1937 pop song by the Gershwin brothers, George and Ira, so that was a little bit before all of your time. Your grandmas probably listened to that. And it was introduced by Fred Astaire in the 1937 film called Shall We Dance? And he was singing it to Ginger Rogers on a lonely, foggy deck of a ferry from New Jersey to Manhattan. There was no dance sequence after the song, and that was probably the only time that he sang a song and then didn't go into the dance. Normally in all of his other films, he would sing the song and then they'd dance and then they'd go back to singing. But this one had absolutely no dance sequence, which was very, very odd. Now, they did dance to this later in their last movie called The Barclays of Broadway of 1949, and that's the one that's actually listed, even though it was originally in Shall We Dance. The song is also featured in Kenneth Branagh's musical version of Shakespeare's Love's Labour's Lost in the year 2000. It was also in the 1995 film Mr. Holland's Opus, and it was in the 1988 film Rain Man. So they used this one quite a bit. And then there were a bunch of people who recorded this. Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Artie Shaw, Bing Crosby, Charlie Parker, Mel Torme, of course Frank Sinatra, and Tony Bennett. And then there was another odd man in this one, and that was Rod Stewart. I don't know if you remember when Rod Stewart, Mr. Rock and Roll, Mr. Do You Think I'm Sexy, Mr. Maggie May, and all of a sudden he puts out this album from the 1940s and does all these classic 40s songs. And he's got a very raspy voice, and you know what? It worked. I liked his versions of all those 40 songs. So check out Mr. Rod Stewart singing They Can't Take That Away From Me, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. It's very, very, very fun. All right, now, if you take a look at, let's see, what should we do first? Let's do the road map first. The road map is not that difficult, except for the fact that, of course, I'm going to change some things. Oh, boy. All right, so if you follow the lyrics, the way you wear your hat, and you have the two dots facing forward. That means skip them right now. Just ignore them and go forward. The way you sip your tea, the memory of all that. No, no, they can't take that away from me, first ending. And then you have repeat dots at the end of that. Two dots, a thin line, and a thick line. If you've got the highlighters, go ahead and make that a color. And then you want to go back to the dots that are facing forward in line 1. The dots go back to the dots. The way your smile just beams. If you follow the lyrics, it will always take you where you need to go. The way you sing off key, the way you haunt my dreams. No, no, they can't take that away from me. Second ending. Now, do not put a little 2 right before the first ending, because I am going to extend the first ending backwards to the word away from. Actually, no, beats 3 and 4. Just the C and the A quarter notes right before the first ending starts. That's where the new first ending is going to start, and the second ending. So what is that going to look like? It's going to look like this. See what I did? I backed up the first ending to accommodate some extra chords, and then the second ending, put that line on top. That's where the second ending's actually going to start. And then when you go from that, when you play that chord, then you are going to jump down to the second ending here. Got it? I'll give you time to kind of fill that in. The first ending starts with the C and the A, away from, and then the second ending is also starts there, but then continues away from me down here. So the reason is different chords. different chords, and they work. They just work better this way. If you need that again later, shoot me an email and I'll be very happy to scan that page to you so you can understand that a little bit better. Okay, so then the second ending finishes the song, and that's it.
That
So
up one more time.
what's that?
Yeah, hold that up one more time.
Okay, all right. I'm just extending the first ending backwards 2 notes.
Well, I'm trying. That's a D7-9.
Don't worry about the chords. You don't know that there's going to, it's a D7-9, yes, but it's going to be 2 chords for the first ending before you get to that C7 and no chord, and then you're going to start the second ending on a C7 going to the F for the second ending. Once you play it a couple times and you play those chords, it will make a lot of sense. Okay. The second thing we need to talk about is the timing. The timing, the way it's written. Remember, easy play, they write it so they think it's going to be easy to write. Well, guess what? They messed up big time on this one because they put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, is what they did. Usually your emphasis goes on the beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, and then the ands, the one and is that the ands are the lesser beats. But they've got it here so that the is on the second beat, you is on the third beat, and your is on the fourth beat. So it's going 1, the way you wear your hat. That's not how they sang it. The emphasis should be on way and wear. The way you wear your hat. All right, so how are we going to fix that? And we have to fix it in every single measure where they have those 2 sets of eighth notes and a quarter note after it, because you want to get the emphasis on the right ones. So every single one of those is going to have to be with, you're going to put an eighth rest in the front. An eighth rest looks like that little 7 with the little bally on top. So that the for that F comes in on the and of 1. And then way is the emphasis on beat 2, the way you wear. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make the word wear a quarter note. So what I'm doing is I'm connecting the first 3 Fs as eighth notes, and then I whited out that little bar and made that second to the last F a quarter note. The way you wear your hat. It's not the way you wear your. That's just the wrong emphasis. You're going to do the same thing on the second line. The memory of all that. Cross out the quarter rest. Replace it with an eighth rest. And connect the first 3 Fs with bars. And then take some white out and get rid of that last one and make that second to the last F a quarter note. The memory of, I can't read backwards, all that. Yeah, it's mirroring in my, the memory of all that. And that's going to be the same way in the first ending. Me, the way you smile, just. And if you once you get the feel for it, you don't even have to mark in all of them. Those of you who've already received copies from me, I've already done that for you. But you'll know where they are. It's on the second page, the second line. The way you hold your knife. It's going to be the same thing. The way we danced till 3. The way you've changed my life. And those are the 3 places on the second page. If you can feel it and you don't worry, then you don't have to worry too much about the way it's written. Play it the way it feels. Put the emphasis exactly on the right syllable. So it makes a little bit more sense. This is the hard part of easy play music. A lot of times they will write it where they think it's going to be easier for us to read, and if you try to read it exactly, it's not going to sound. It's not going to come out. So the timing on this is important. And you probably saw that I'm adding all kinds of extra good chords. Yeah. So that's the next thing we're going to do is fill in the chords. The F chord is good. The next measure, the way you sip your beat 3, which is now going to be over the F for sip. That's now the new beat 3. Put in a D diminished, dragonfly diminished, and your two notes are D and A flat. It's always, diminished is always the letter plus 6, D and A flat. Let's go to the second line. The very first C can be just a C7, or it can be a C sus, S-U-S, and that's a suspended fourth chord, and the notes on that are C, F, and G, all at the same time. That's going to be good for 2 counts. Beat 3, put in a C7 or a C9, chicken 9. That's a 4-fingered chord. C, D, E, B flat, or you can put the B flat on the bottom, whichever way is easiest for you. The 9 chords are always 4-fingered chords. C, D, E, and B flat, either top or bottom. I like it on the top. It's just easier to stretch my thumb up there, but that's totally up to you. The G minor, you may put a 7 on the G minor. You must play G and B flat, but if you want to put the 7 in, it's the F, F, G, B flat for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is now the quarter note that we turned the word of, the second to the last F. We are making that a quarter note. That is now beat 3. Your chord on top of that is a C7 or a C suspended, C sus, S-U-S. Your notes are C, F, and G. Make the F an F7 or an F9, whichever one you want to get comfortable with. The F7 is E flat and F. The F9 is E flat, F, G, A. Flat elephants, fish, gorillas, and alligators. That's good for 2 counts. Beat 3, C7, C and B flat, or C augmented, which is C, chicken, E, elephant, and sharp gorillas, G sharp. And if you want to add the 7, you may. Then you can have the G sharp and the B flat if you can find all the fingers for those notes. The next line, over that quarter rest, and that is a quarter rest, don't change that one. F or F7, E flat and F, or F9, which is E flat, F, G gorilla, and A alligator, 4 fingers in a row. Actually, cool sounding chords. Here's an F. Whoops, where's my easy button? There it is. Here's an F7. Here's an F9. Ooh. Party. The B flat is good for 1 count, not 1 note, 1 count. So beat 2 over the C for the word that. Put in a G minor, gorilla minor, or a G minor 7. Now here's where your first ending starts. So under that little first ending that you made is a D7 or a D9. If you play the D, you can just play D if you want. D7 is C and D. The D9 is C, D, E, F sharp. Or just play D. And then on the A, the fourth beat, you're still underneath your little bracket for the 1. Put a G gorilla or a G7, F and G. So what are you having in that measure? 1 chord per beat.
Wow.
Yeah, it is a wow. Guess what? If you don't want to play them, just play B flat. It'll be fine. I promise.
Question, Dawn.
Yes.
On that first measure, the F7 or 9, could you give me the notes for the F9 again?
Yes, ma'am. E flat, elephant flat. F, fish. G, gorilla. A, alligator.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now let's finish with the first ending. It's a C7, and you can put the no chord, see the NC, put it in parentheses. You don't have to play the no chord. You could just play it on C7 and be fine. Beat 3, which is the second to the last F over the word smile. You're going to turn that into a quarter note. The first 4 notes, G, F, 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 should be all connected with a bar because those are 4 eighth notes in a row. Me, the way, your smile. You've got to put the emphasis on the right syllable. So over the word smile, put a B flat, butterfly flat. It's just your thumb on B flat. All right, let's back up to away from me. Let's back up to where I put in the second ending, right on top of where you wrote that first ending. You're going to put that second ending, and over the C for way, you're going to put in a C7. Now you want to take a look at that for the chords. Okay? So just 1 chord for the beats 3 and 4, going to the F in the second ending. And again, the no chord in the second ending is completely optional. You don't need to play it. You can just play the F chord and be good. All right, the A minor chord is fine for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the E for the word nev. Put in a D dinosaur or a D7, which is C and D, or a D9 if you want to be that adventuresome. And your notes for a D9 are C, D, E, F sharp. Always your 9s are 4 keys in a row.
Where are you?
I'm on the last line, second measure, third beat. Over never, never.
That's a D9?
Over the second never, yes. Over the E.
Yeah.
That's, and guess what? That's only for 1 count. So if you only want to play D, just play D. That's fine. And then over the D for that's a good word, put an E chord, elephant, or an E7 if you wish, which is a D and E. And then the first beat of the next measure, which is a C for the word meat, A minor, alligator minor. So you can see we're doing 3 chords in that measure, and we've got 3 chords in a row. D, E, A minor. The A minor is good for 2 counts. Beat 3. Again, over the gen, over that E, put a D dinosaur, or a D7, or a D9. Over the D for on, the 4th beat. E, elephant, or E7, which would be D and E. Everything is just repeating. It's a little chord pattern. Once your fingers get it, it repeats twice. Top of the second page. First line, first measure, first beat. Over the A for bump, A minor. Now we're going to change it up. Beat 4. Over the G for the word to, put in a B butterfly or a B7, which is A and B, or a B7 augmented, AUG, And your notes on that are D sharp, dinosaur sharp, G gorilla, A alligator, and B butterfly. And that's a nice little lead-in chord. The E can be an E, it can be an E7, or it can be an E sus, or an E sus7. Wow. Okay, so you get a choice of 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, or 4. Which one do you want? The E sus is E elephant, A alligator, and B butterfly. If you want to add the 7, it's the D on the bottom. D, E, A, B. You got to kind of spread your fingers apart. And that's good for 2 counts. Beat 3, which is in between the notes. Go back to a plain old E elephant or an E7. D and E. The A minor is good for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the E for all. D dinosaur or D7, which is C and D, or D9, which are those 4 fingers, D, E, C, D, E, F sharp. I'm sorry. Chicken, dinosaur, elephant, and sharp fish.
I'm sorry, Dawn, what measure are we in there?
That's line 1, measure 3, 3rd beat over the E for always.
Okay.
Or if you want, just play D. Then that's good for 1 count, by the way. So just play D is fine. And then over the D for ways, put in an E elephant or an E7. Now remember, if you only learn 1 chord, 1 new chord, you are 100% successful. So don't worry about all these extras. But they do add some extra spice, and they do give you a nice challenge.
Was that last one E7?
Yes,
Over the
ma'am.
B? Okay, thanks.
Yes. It's the E7 is in between love and still. Oh, I'm sorry. The last E7 is over the word D for ways. I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. Line 2 of the last page. Cross out the D and replace it with A minor, alligator minor, C and A for 2 counts. Beat 3 over the D for mem. Put a C minor, chicken minor. Your 2 notes are C and E flat. E flat, which is elephant flat. That's good for 1 count. Over beat 4, the last D of that measure, now put in a plain old D dinosaur or dinosaur 7, which is C and D. The G chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3, put in a B flat minor, butterfly flat minor. Your 2 notes are D dinosaur flat and B butterfly flat. The C chord is fine, or C7. You can cross out the note chord. I think it's easier to play without it, actually. Just play C7. Now here's again where we're switching up the timing. So beat 3 is actually the word hold. You're making that a quarter note, and you're changing the quarter rest at the beginning to an 8th rest. So over the word hold, put a B flat chord, butterfly flat. The F chord is good for the whole measure. Let's go to the 3rd line. The 3rd beat. And the 3rd beat here is also one that we're changing. You want to change that quarter rest to an 8th rest. You want to make the 2nd to the last F in the measure over the word danced. Make it a quarter note. Beat 3 and put a D diminished. D diminished is D and A flat. We're pretty much going back to what we did at the beginning of the song, so we're repeating that part. The C over the word 3, we are making a C sus, or you can just play C7, which is C and B flat. C sus is C, F, G, fish and gorillas. And then In beat 3, go back to a plain old C or a C7. Make the G minor a G minor 7 if you wish. You have to play the G and B flat, but you may add the F. The last measure of that line, make the F an F7 or an F9, which is E flat, F, G, A for 2 counts. Beat 3, put in a C augmented or a C7 or a C7 augmented. C augmented is C, chicken, E, elephant, and G sharp, sharp gorillas. And then the B flat is the 7th. 4th line, first beat over that blacked in quarter note. Put an F, fish, or an F7, E flat F, or an F9, E flat, F, G, A.
Can you
Second
repeat
measure.
that? Can you
Pardon?
repeat Dawn, can you repeat what you put over the filled in note?
Yes, F7 or F9. Second measure, the B flat's good for 1 count, not 1 note, 1 count, which is 2 quarter notes, 2 eighth notes, excuse me. And then over the C for the word that, put a G minor, gorilla minor, G and B flat, or a G minor 7 for 1 count. Beat 3 over the C for way, put a C7, chicken 7, or just a plain old C. And that's good for the rest of that measure. Last measure of that line, cross out the F and replace it with D minor, dinosaur minor, D and F for 1 count. Over the C for no, put a B flat minor, butterfly flat minor, which is D flat, dinosaur flat, and butterfly flat. The last line, we are going to have 1 chord per note. Cross out the G minor. Over the A, beat 1, put a plain old F, fish. Over the B flat, beat 2, put a plain old B flat. Over the A, beat 3, go back to the plain old F. Over the second B flat, which is the 4th beat, A minor, alligator minor, C and A. Cross out the C chord and replace it with butterfly flat, B flat. Over the A half note for the word from. Now put your C or C7 back in, and your F ends the song, and that's it. Easy peasy, right?
It was easy, not easy anymore.
No, there's some chords in here that will absolutely give you some fits, and I want you to choose the ones that you want to learn. If you decide to learn a C sus, learn a C sus. If you want to skip all that and just learn an F7 or an F9, just play the other chords that are written. It's going to be fine. I promise you.
Can you repeat, okay, on the second page, line 3, after the G minor 7?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The G
Okay.
minor 7 is good for the whole measure.
Okay.
Then the F can either be an F, F7, or F9.
Oh, okay.
Okay, was that the one you missed?
So that's over the D?
That's over the D, yes ma'am. And that's good for
Okay.
2 counts.
Okay.
And then beat 3 is a C, a C7, or a C augmented.
Okay.
Or you can skip it all
What's
together,
the
that's
C-
okay.
C7 augmented.
Yeah.
C, F, and G?
C, E, G sharp, and B flat.
Oh,
So on line 4,
Uh-huh.
where you have no day, what goes up there?
That's still an F7 or an F9. At the beginning of the
Oh, okay.
measure, play an F,
Okay.
an
Okay.
F7 or an F9. So if you wanted to skip that C augmented, see how you just play that F7 or F9, and then it would just go for 2 measures. And that's
Okay.
fine to do too. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying is you don't have to learn all these in
Okay.
one sitting at least. Give it a setting and a half at least. I'm going to play this on the song setup. On song setup, it does come up Satin Lady. Satin Lady at 104. This also works very well on Swing and Sway, which is under your foxtrot category, or Tap Soft Shoe. And if you think about it, it's Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. They're dancing. So Tap Soft Shoe is the perfect background for this. It also worked very well with Brass Bandit because it's something bouncy at 104. On the smaller instruments, Freedom 3, Standard Swing Time was very nice, or Standard Big Band. If you've got an easy 10, 4, 3, 2, 1, the full band of standard full band, which is Frank and the Count, is very nice, or standard guitar, which is the guitar swing. And you want to fill that guitarist out with drums. Put something on the lower, which means you want to either add a string or an organ sound to your lower left, and then you also probably want to add either an organ or a string to the guitar in the upper right to fill it out to make it more of a full band. All right, I'm going to play it on song setup to start, which is Satin Lady with the Lombardo brass on top and sax on the bottom. Back to the top. Okay. This is a challenge song, so like I said, I'd rather have you play the chords that are already there and get the timing right. The way you wear your hat, the way you sip your tea, and actually those to be real technical, those actually come in before the beat too. So you got to play it the way you hear it.
Yeah, so no FX and
I
tap the keyboard all the way.
I used a little bit of FX, but throw it in where you feel like it, but don't worry too much about it. There was a little bit in there.
Okay.
Let's do some fingering. F2, 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 F2. And in case I forgot one, an F2. The A is a 4. F2, 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 all the way across. Second line, C1. F2, 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 F2. High C5. D2, D2, D2. F4. D2. C1. B flat 2 with a circle, you're crossing it over. C can either be 3 or 4, whichever one gets there first. The A is a 2. The official first ending, not the one that I filled in, the G is a 1, and all the F's across are 2s. And you want to circle that first 2 because you're crossing him over. Let's go to the official second ending, not the one that I threw in. F1, check mark. That means you're going to lift your hand. A1, B2, C3, A1, E5, D4, C3, A1, E5, D4, C3, top of the second page, A1, 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 G2 with a circle, that means you're crossing it over, E1, check mark. New phrase, A1, B2, C3, A1, E5, D4, C3, A1, D4, D4, G1, F2 with a circle, or you could have put a check mark, doesn't matter. F2, 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 all the way across. The A is a 4. Third line, F2, 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 C1, F2, 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 and another F2, D5. At the end of that held D, which means after the blacked-in quarter note on the line, on line 4, put a check mark. For the no-nos, you're going to do F4, 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 D2, C1, B flat 2 with a circle. C can either be 3 or 4, whichever finger gets there first. A2, F1, C4. And over the C4, you're going to put one of these little things, a little sideways V. You know what that, you remember what that is? Back from your Lowry Magic days?
Get louder.
Not louder, because it's just a little one.
Oh,
Crescendo is when you have a longer one.
okay.
Just a little V over the top of, sideways V over the top of a note. Do you remember what that is?
No.
It's an accent.
Ah.
That means punch the note. And it's on the second beat, so it's on an off beat. They can't take that away from me. No, they can't.
Oh.
So you punch that word no. It's on the second beat. So if you put a little accent over that note, that'll remind you, punch that note a little bit. Now, it's not going to really do anything unless you have your dynamic keying on. So don't worry too much about it. It's just to remind you that that no is to be emphasized a little bit.
So would you take a breath and then hit that C?
You can.
Okay.
You can. It's on the second beat. The second beat alone is going to make it a little bit, because you're jumping the gun on that. Normally you want to play your main beats as 1 and 3, and since you're doing me no, you're jumping in on that second beat, so it's going to automatically kind of accent it. The B flat is a 3, and the last line, A2, B flat 3, A2, B flat 3, G1, A can be 2 or 3, whichever one gets there first, and last F is a 1. Any questions? No? Okay.
Dawn, one question.
Okay.
On the first page, last line, second measure. The note, first note under nev for never is an A minor, and then an A, and then an E, and then above that E, it can either be a D minor or a D9. And
No, not a D minor. No, not a D minor. It can be a plain old D.
Okay.
Or a D7. Or a D9. Not a D minor. Don't play D minor.
Okay, that's all I just
Yeah.
wrote.
And then
So a D7 or a D9 or plain old.
correct. Then an E over the D for put an E or an E7, elephant 7.
I had that all wrong. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
So E7 then.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And the notes for the D9 are C, D, E, and
F sharp.
F sharp. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to also play this on tap soft shoe, and if you are close to your instrument, play along with me, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit here. We'll go from 104 down to 95. And if you want to, make sure you're muted. If you just want to play the right hand, go ahead. If you want to play the chords to see if you can get some of them, you can do that too. Or go ahead and just play them all. Two, three, four, one. Back to the dots. Second ending. Okay. Now, I held out all those whole notes, and you may wish to change your playing style on those whole notes and make them staccato. Because if you remember, sometimes they didn't sing it always, the way you wear your hat. Most of the times they sang it, the way you wear your hat, and get right off of it. So if you wanted to make those whole notes staccatos, you could. The way you sip your tea, and get off of it. The memory of all that. Now that one you could hold if you want. But just watch those. It's just a playing technique. You can hold them, which I did this time because I thought some of you might be playing along, and I was just trying to follow along with the music. But you can play those as staccatos and just get on them and get right off of them. Now remember, how do you make a staccato? A little dot on top of or underneath the note. You just got to remember then, if you get on it and off of it, you got to let the rest of the measure go. You still have to have 4 counts in the measure. But you don't have to hold the note for 4 counts. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
Thank you.
Okay. There are some interesting chords in this, I have to admit. And the bridge gets a little dicey because you have lots of chords in a row. So practice it with just the chords that are written there first. I mean, you've got an A minor for a whole long time. And so, just practice with the chords that are there. And then if you feel like adding some of these other sequences in, try a couple of them and see what happens. Is it a challenge? Oh, yes. But why not? What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? You can't go to a concert. You can't go to a football game. So you might as well stay home and practice some of your chords, okay? But always, always, always make sure it stays fun. You never, ever want to make this a chore. The minute it becomes a chore means you have to either close the book and walk away from it for a while or go back to just the chords that you know. You always want it to stay fun. Any questions? Okay.
Dawn, what's the code for coming up with nines?
What do you mean?
The letter plus what?
Nines are just 4 to row, and the formula is a little bit complex. Like a G9 is G plus 2 and minus 2.
Plus 2.
Yeah. Plus 2 and minus 2.
Minus 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That should work for all of them. Yep.
Thank
It's
you.
'cause it's 4 fingers. It's basically just 4 fingers in a row.
Yeah.
Yep. But you got to watch it because sometimes there's a flat or a sharp in there. And not too hard, because you just take 4 fingers pretty much and slap them down. You can get a 9. But you don't ever have to play them. A 9 can be a 1-finger chord. You can just, if it's a G9, just play a G. You're going to be fine. So I put
What if
these
you
in
get-
because some
if you
people
got
have
it-
to have them.
If you put it on MCS Plus, what do you get?
Well, in MCS Plus, it depends on what one you're using. Are you using jazz or are you using full two hands, or which one are you using? The jazz one normally puts in 9s and 6s,
Okay.
but it will do it for all the chords.
Yeah.
And when you're using MCS Plus, I would not use it for a song like this where you're changing chords that rapidly. I would use your MCS Plus for slow songs like Smile When Your Heart Is Breaking. Do it on a slow song so that the 6s and 9s really come through, and then they work on all the chords. Don't do it on a song where you have to change chords every beat.
Thank you.
Dawn, if you do 9s as the letter plus 2 minus 2, you're taking away the second 2. No?
No.
So
Nope.
it's letter plus
Oh,
2.
no, I see what you're saying. No, it's the letter plus 2, and then again plus 2, and then go back to the letter minus 2. Remember what 7?
Oh,
7's for the letter. Yeah, I see what you did.
So,
Yeah, no, I see what you did. You went
Yeah,
plus
if
2,
you-
plus 2, and then you went back to. Yeah, you can't do that. It's the
Yeah,
letter
no.
plus 2, and then from that one, do plus 2 again,
Right.
and then go back to the letter and go the letter minus 2 for the
So
7.
that was a D9, then the last minus 2 would be a C.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
That's where you get the plus 2 is an E, the plus 2 is an F sharp, and then the letter minus 2 is down to the D. Remember, the rule for 7s is always the letter minus 2.
Right.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Good questions. And for those of you who are going shoo, and not getting it, guess what? It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
You mentioned the concert. Now that's coming up with 3 people. You and 2 other guys, Carrie Price, and then
And Joni.
Yeah. Joni.
That's Monday. Monday at
Oh.
3.
Monday at 3. Okay. Good.
Monday
Okay.
at 3. Yep. That's going to start our week of mad days. Mad days. And mad is not being angry mad. Mad is being mad, crazy mad. And it means member appreciation days. And that's going to run for an entire week. So watch for your emails because Robert's going to be putting them in. So absolutely. Don't forget there is a Zoom concert on Friday at 2 o'clock, and it's somebody new. I don't think anybody here knows this person, but the resume looks fabulous, so it's always good to listen to somebody new. You guys are the awesomest. Thank you.
Wait, Dawn.
Oh, what?
We need a song for next
Oh,
week.
you are correct. Thank you, Pam. Thank you. Now, those of you with different additions, a time for us is one that we actually did in our lesson program. Would you like to do it, or would you like to skip it?
There's a time for us. Let's do it.
Let's
That's
do
a
it.
good
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do it. It's
Time for us?
a time for us from Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, it doesn't matter if we repeat stuff. Okay,
What page is that on?
that's on page 144. Now remember, we're in a book that has different editions. So if you don't have that song, email me and I'll make sure I get a copy to you.
So is it a time for us or time for us?
A Time for Us, the love theme from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
It's a good song. Pretty song.
Let's see it. Oh, it said there's a time for us.
No,
The next-
There's a Time for Us is somewhere. There's a place
Oh, yeah.
for us.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Oh, so this is a
A
time for
Time for Us. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question.
That's not in this book. Okay.
Oh, it's not? Which edition
No.
do you have, David?
I have 8th edition.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's the 8th edition. It is not in that book.
No,
No,
I,
and maybe we
I
can,
have it in another book, so.
yeah.
you know where another book it might be in?
Yeah, it's in one of the Lowry songbooks that we had
Yeah.
way back in the day.
Huh.
But, David, just shoot me an email. Those of you that have 8th editions, if you can't
Yeah.
find it in another book, I will scan a copy to you, so no worries.
Okay.
No worries. I can't just, keep skipping songs just because every edition is
No,
different.
you can't.
We'll figure it out. We'll just figure it out.
You're still doing a class at 2 o'clock like next Monday before your.
Yes, I am. I'm doing a 2
Oh, you're a
o'clock
busy
class.
girl.
Yes, and I know I'm going to have to end class early so I can get into hair and makeup.
There you go.
Dawn,
Yes.
it's in book 274,
Okay.
page 298.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, no.
okay.
274, which is Monday's class book.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, and that's something else that we are going to encounter, and we're going to encounter it already next week.
What's the
Some
name?
of the songs from the 4 classes that I teach are going to repeat.
Yeah.
And that's just the price you pay for when we work with Hal Leonard, is that your songs are going to repeat. So we'll just repeat them because there are some people who don't come to all the classes, so we'll just have to repeat them.
So that was in book 134 on page 278.
No, page
No.
two,
Oh,
book 274, which is Monday's class book, the black one.
This one.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, okay. It's,
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that one next week. And again, if you don't have it or can't find it,
okay.
oh,
send me an email and I'll be more than happy to get it to you. Not a problem.
I'm so sorry. What, in book 274, what page did you say it was?
298.
To what?
298.
Oh, thank you, Inez.
298. Okay. Hmm.
Okay. Don't forget about the concert on
There it
Friday.
is.
Yay.
Is it a time for us?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
You guys are the bestest. You're the
Thank you.
awesomest.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Pam.
Done.
Bye, Inez.
Bye.
Have a
Bye,
great
Pam.
day.
Thank you, Dawn. Did a
You're
great job.
welcome. We'll see you next week, or we'll see you
Bye.
tomorrow or later. We see some of
Thank
you
you,
all the time.
Dawn.
Love you
Dawn.
guys.
Thank